treadmill, if I'm not mistaken.
That's true.
After you achieve a certain level of comfort, which is you've got a nice car, you can buy the food you want, you can probably get on a plane and travel somewhere.
Yeah.
You are living in a comfortable house. There's not much highs or lows after that.
Yeah.
So you'll have moments of, and then you go back to that same level. Or you'll have some moments of lowness, and then you go back to that same level. So like there's no greater joy that a new car will give you.
Yes.
So like now when you buy a new car, I mean, you're happy for like a week, then it's just a car.
That's true.
When you're, so the hedonistic treadmill. So after you achieve a certain level of basic life comfort, it's not basic.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a bit more superior.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people who've achieved some level of success have that already.
Yeah.
So you can keep chasing that temporary high and temporary lows, but once you understand, you'll mostly just come back to this. That's why I think once you achieve that is when you start to think more long term.
Yes,
you start to make 10-year plans, 20-year plans. You start to think about building businesses that will last generations because it's no longer about that temporary.
True. Rise and fall.
Yeah. Like, so it's a very hedonistic treadmill. Like so.
Hello, champions. Welcome back to Chapter Champions podcast. Very exciting day. Today we have Eugene Bua, who's the founder and CEO of D&R Studios, aka Young Rich Television. And they've produced so much of exciting content, entertainment, educational content that's run on major TV stations in Kenya and beyond. And super excited to hear your story.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be an inspiring one. So welcome.
Asante, very happy to be here.
Welcome.
Asante. I have to apologize. I'm going to have to interrupt a few times. I've got a cough.
Okay.
I went playing golf in the rain. It looks really cool on Instagram.
Yeah. Okay.
But there's real life consequences.
Oh my gosh.
Pole.
Oh my gosh.
We should be good, Yeah, so normally we start with very personal, intimate question, which is, who is Eugene? Like, where do you come from? And just a background.
Yeah.
Of yourself.
I'm Eugene Bua. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm founder and CEO of D&R Studios, which is one of the leading TV production companies, TV and audiovisual production companies in the country, but also trying to position ourselves now as more of a general entertainment company, not just a production company.
Okay.
So what we do is we produce television shows, and we've got a ton of those from Young Rich back in the day in 2013, which is, I think, how I encountered you, Tash.
Yes.
We had Get in the Kitchen, Foods of Kenya, Story Yangu, Our Perfect Wedding, our 5th anniversary, Best of. Then we got into our reality years, so we did Bing Bahati. We did This Love with Wahoo and Nameless, This Love Plus One, Kyalo Culture with Betty Chalo and the Sisters, Soul Family, it's Sauti Soul, Real Houses of Nairobi. Like I can go on and on. There's quite a number of TV shows.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
We've got a few others coming in.
Yeah.
We also do quite a bit of work with corporates. So we do a lot of documentaries in the corporate and an NGO world. As part of D&R also now we've launched a makeup line with Betty Chalo called Unapologetic by Betty. So that's on shelves now. May I just do a shameless plug now? That's on shelves at Super Cosmetics, True Cosmetics and leading cosmetic stores. And also on the media side, we're venturing into digital content. So we've got a platform called Control Z, which is short form content targeted at Gen Z, and a few other channels coming on the way. So yeah, that's about it. That's my main work. I'm an entrepreneur, so I've got a few other things. I'm involved in the after hours entertainment business. No, I should not call it that. That sounds like it's a dodgy business.
Yeah, it's true. After hours.
I'm in hospitality. It's after hours entertainment business. That sounds obnoxious. So yeah, that's what I do for work. I don't know if I've answered your questions or you wanted something more.
No, that's great. You've told us about what going to get there, but that's a good rundown of what you do. So After Hours is basically a club.
No, let's not call it After Hours.
It's
hospitality. I mean,
this one also I don't understand.
I know.
It's buzz. It's buzz and restaurant, not after hours. Actually, here's my camera. It's not after hours. It's a bar.
It's a bar.
It's a bar and restaurant.
Clear.
I think I'm running a brothel over here. Massage parlor.
Cool. Yeah. So, where did you start? How do you end up in entrepreneurship? Let me just we had a conversation with one of our entrepreneurs called Bet. He runs Papink, the gifting company.
Papink, we buy a lot of corporate gifts from there.
And he told us a story of how he used to, his first orders, he used to walk from town through like Kilelesho,
Yes.
Lavington Junction
I
to
know
make
that journey
deliveries.
very well.
Yes.
Yes, and it reminded me of your story. And I'd love us to go
Yeah.
to that story and way back.
Yeah. So I'll start way back. I think my first, at least memory-wise, foray into entrepreneurship, when I joined high school in Upper Hill,
Okay.
in Form 1,
Mhm.
I got this strange job selling gumus. So they had the school had the major canteen, which
Yeah.
used to
Okay.
sell like proper snacks.
Mhm.
Then there was one student run one.
Mhm.
I don't know, I can't remember the dynamics of how it was set up, but it was owned by students,
Mhm.
and you could buy shares by working for free. Then you had a shareholder, so then they could give you some sort of
Wow, okay.
exchange.
Some packs.
So the Form 1 you join and you sell at
Mhm.
break time instead of enjoying your break,
Mhm.
and they pay you in gumus at the beginning.
Oh,
then eventually
gosh.
you have some shares. I think by Form 2, I don't remember the arrangement.
Yeah.
But I
Paid
stuck
in
it out.
gumus.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, gumus was it.
Yeah.
So break time you sort of dash out and you go become a shopkeeper.
Yeah.
And then we only used to get stock at break. So like there's no gumus at lunch and in meaning. So it's a very interesting one. So and I owned stock in that store, I think Form 1 and Form 2.
Okay.
Then I think after that it didn't really make much sense.
Mhm.
Then I had still in high school, I had a friend of mine called Shirima,
Mhm.
Tanzanian guy who I met recently actually,
Okay.
who also owns a cocktail bar in Dar es Salaam.
Mhm.
And he was a very good artist. And so what you do, back in those days, writing letters to girls'
Mail.
schools was a really,
Yeah.
really big deal.
Mm.
So what we'll do is we'll take white envelopes and he'll do some
Okay.
beautiful graffiti on them.
Mhm.
And a regular envelope will cost you 5 shillings. This one would go for 25 shillings. So then he was the Form 3 or Form 4. And I was the one tasked with selling these envelopes to Form 1s and Form 2s
Oh,
because they're
gosh.
most gullible, more likely to buy.
Oh,
And
gosh.
we'd sell a bunch of those.
Okay.
So I used to be an envelope salesperson.
Oh my gosh.
And you see, I think I'd get like 5 shillings commission or something.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
But it was good enough that I got off the canteen, stopped selling gumus and
It was
started
an
selling
upgrade.
art.
Oh
Selling
my
art.
gosh.
Not envelopes.
Selling art. So I did that for a while also. And then I remember at some point, the same guy, Shirima, he got, he would buy like cheap watches
Mhm.
and then super glue, and he'd buy like also like fake diamond chains.
Oh my
And
gosh.
then he would bejewel the
Oh
watch.
gosh. This is in high school.
And then if you sell one of those, that's like 2,000 bob.
Oh
man.
my
Whoa.
gosh.
You're sorted for a
Oh
whole
my
term.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
That one needs
Yeah.
proper
So
targeting.
Shirima and I were like really, really good business partners because he was like a weird guy who was just very good at art. And then I was a salesman. So I
Yes.
just be going there talking to people about this. And then DVDs came, and I remember at some point now we were selling like mixtapes.
Mhm.
Then Shirima finished high school and my business pretty much died because
Oh
I
my
wasn't the
gosh.
creator of anything.
Your co-founder left.
My co-founder
Your
left.
co-founder left.
That's when you learned
Oh gosh.
the power of the
Yeah.
back end operation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Then I think and it was really interesting because as soon as this whole time I was also in drama club when I was in school, which is important because it's how it influenced what I ended up doing for
Okay.
work.
Okay.
But then after Shirima left, my life in Upper Hill pretty much went to the dogs, and I left the school soon after.
Wow.
So then fast forward, I finished high school,
And just before the finishing high school, so
Yeah.
like we usually see these patterns a lot where there's like just some moments of brilliance or some insights when you're young, and you start picking up these things like just starting a small business, reselling some things.
Yeah.
So at that time, if you can remember, like what drew you into just join someone in like running a small quote unquote business in school?
I think all of my early entrepreneurship, and I've said this, I could try and romanticize it, but it wasn't very romantic. A lot of my forays into business then were purely driven by necessity. I come from a very I don't want to use words like humble or poor or stuff like that, but I was in need of money.
Yes.
I needed money for survival.
Yeah.
So a lot of that was just like purely driven by need and necessity. And you will see even before I landed on what I do now, from a very early age, it was clear to me that I wasn't, because you see the thing that privilege gives you is opportunities. You can try this and fail, try that and fail. You're shielded. You've got a cushion. When you don't have a cushion, some people don't understand that when you're not privileged, you don't have options. So you must take whatever comes your way. And so I feel like all through my younger years, I was just taking every opportunity that came my way. So if it's envelopes, I'm gonna sell those envelopes.
Yes.
If it's
Make a
Ngumu,
commission.
don't make pale break time.
Yes, true.
If it's, and then this continued because even before I landed into TV, so now I'll fast forward. So then I finished high school.
Yeah.
And then I was lucky enough to have one of my relatives pay for my school fees for USIU. So I joined as a part-time student going to classes in the evenings.
Okay.
But during the day, wacha sasa nianze vitu zingine.
Oh my gosh.
So now my friend Dexter, so I started by being an extra. Even before I became an extra, one of my cousins brought me sweaters.
Okay.
Tumba sweaters, and I tried to go sell them on a film set. I stayed there all day. 2 people bought and 1 didn't pay.
Oh my gosh.
So that business collapsed because I didn't have any more capital to get
Oh
any more
gosh.
sweaters. So that was a 1-day business. Then I did. Then I on that same set they had me as an extra, so the guys who filled the background. Then I got a job boom swinging on Machachari. Do you remember the
Yes.
children's show?
Yes.
So I was a boom swinger, and then so how it used to work then
Wow.
is you do the pilot for free, and if the show is sold, they give you the work of the position you did for free.
Okay.
So I did the Machachari pilot for free, and then nikaiona kwa TV.
You're
So
like,
when
I
the
got
work
a
came out,
job.
hawakunipea.
Oh no.
And they use the content.
No, see, the agreement is you do this work for free. So you film with them for like 2 weeks
Okay.
for free with the promise that tukiketi job ni yako. Alafu unaiona hewani, they continued without
Oh
me.
my gosh.
Then I did boom swinging also for a show called News of Gold. It used to be on KBC. Au pia wakunilipa.
Oh gosh.
Benjamin Odior, sijui kama anawatch. That is the name of the producer. And I have a funny story around there. So, because you're learning everything. So know Ken Ambani, the famous actor. I think he's a minister in Mombasa now. So boom swinging is extremely tiring work. You hold that microphone for hours and hours all through the day. And so I got tired and distracted and I dropped it. and Ken is I don't know if his hair has improved, but he's balding.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And my boomstick hit him smack.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. You could see the shock. It feels like being attacked because it's a heavy thing on your head. And he was bleeding and we had to stop. And everybody's looking at me like, you're killing a legend. Who is this kid?
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if I got fired for that, but yeah, my career in boom swinging didn't go very far.
Oh my gosh. But was it a nudge in the right direction though? Or away?
No, it wasn't. Like there was nowhere to go. I was doing those extra jobs. Because you see, but the important is you're at the bottom of the barrel. But it's the only way to learn about any industry. Because while you're there, you do. There's actually a position in film production called the runner.
Okay.
And your job is to mkono, basically. You are sent your microphones in any. And it's the easiest way to learn about the roles of any film.
I see.
And a lot of people try and just like jump from this to this. But that year or 2 I spent doing odd jobs on sets is what made me understand that's what the director does, that's what the producer does. And ultimately, it's what made me figure out what I wanted to be.
I see.
I'll tell you how that happened.
And just before that one, so like it was high school and you mentioned there's a link to drama, you're in drama.
Yeah.
And you end up doing this in USIU. So like, and you sound really passionate about it, doing all these odd jobs and stuff. So like, what did you realize in high school that made you decide this is a field you want to pursue later now in uni?
So in drama to start with, I didn't even join drama out of passion. A lot of my decisions early on were not driven by passion. I feel like passion has followed after whatever I've done has rewarded me.
Okay.
The other is just practicality. So in high school, when I joined in Form 1, you know how they take you around the clubs?
Yes.
I joined drama because when I was taken to drama, the person who was showing me around said, don't join drama. They never go home for holidays because they have to stay in school and practice.
Yeah.
But the situation for me at home was very bad. So I actually didn't want to go home. So I joined drama because they don't go home on holidays. And as a Form 1, you're not expected to get a role. You're the props guy. You know, the guys who carry the props to stage. Then Enoso Leak, you know, the famous
I
Enoso
remember.
Leak, he was playing the role of a girl called a JB on a very big play because Upper Hill was known for art. And he broke his voice. So they needed a Form 1 who hadn't broken his voice to play the role. So then I happened to be there. So then I got a major role in drama. But then I fell in love with storytelling at the time. You know, it's art is very immersive. You sit there and you see the emotion of the audience. You get to be this role for a while. And then that coupled with the fact that after I finished high school, doing odd jobs on film sets, and then I started to see like maybe this is something I want to go into. But I chose it because it was what was available for me in those days. The reason I was getting film set work is because my cousin worked on those film sets, so he would just bring me along. How I figured out what I want to be on the film sets after boom swinging is there's a show called Mokutano Junction. It was one of the heaviest funded shows in Kenya. And always, so you're learning. So the director does this, the producer does that, so and so does this. And I was like, but who is the boss? So, you're then introduced to the managing Jew who.
Yeah.
Then one day, this Mzungu guy rode in a Harley Davidson.
Oh gosh.
And everything stopped. And he came and he inspected the set,
Mm-hmm.
walked around,
Mm-hmm.
and I was told that's an executive producer.
Okay.
That's the real owner.
Executive.
I said, so what does executive producer do? That he's the one who comes up with the concept
Mhm.
and he's the one who raises the money and sells the show. So I decided that's what I want to do.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
and then we also, very soon after we were fired from that job, my friend Dexter and I, for a very stupid thing, we made a film that went viral on set and then we were fired for it.
Oh really?
On our phones. Yeah, it was when Bluetooth had just come out, so we did this stupid movie on our phone.
Okay.
It was a bit naughty.
Mm-hmm.
And he made the rounds on the set.
Oh my
and there weren't
gosh.
two please. So I love what it's not being fired. Then kama kazi ya mjengo au itu tena kesho. So then I got into the business of trying to sell my own TV show.
Okay. Okay.
Now between selling the TV show, because this was around 2010,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a second year now.
Mhm.
So I've been doing odd jobs on film sets for about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've done some script writing for Inspector Mwala's Genie Nini. So I'm
Mm.
spending my days doing odd jobs and going to class in the evening.
Yes.
So then we tried a bunch of things. After we stopped doing the odd jobs on sets, I tried to do a festival at USIU.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Body Arts Festival. So I went to town
Mm-hmm.
and got a bunch of tattoo artists to come and exhibit their work on a Thursday evening. You know how universities have those party evenings?
Mm.
So it was called the Body Arts Festival.
Mhm.
And I signed on a bunch of them, like 8 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they came and guys were lining up. But the problem is some people tried to get tattoos there, which was the aim because I promised these guys that.
Yes. You'll
You'll
get
get
some
customers.
business.
Yeah.
Then a neighbor, an elderly lady came screaming that people were doing devil worshipping there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, what is that? Chora nini hizi madragons and then she
Oh
threw
my
some things. Pa. So that business ended.
Oh my
I never
gosh.
did that again.
Yeah.
Then one other time I tried a tour company. Maybe I'll be bonfire today.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I got a bunch of my friends together. We went and scoped for a campsite in Naivasha.
Okay.
None of these guys had ever been there.
Mm.
So we charged them like 5,000.
Okay.
So we arranged for accommodation. We bought drinks. We bought food.
Mm-hmm.
I love I'm transporting them by matatu.
Mhm.
So we go to town. We take a matatu. We go to Naivasha.
Okay.
We have changed matatus at Naivasha to then go to my South Lake Road.
Mhm.
Hapo katikati mahali, and I was entrusted with the booze.
Okay.
I lost it. So there was this long weekend, 3 days, and
Without
these people
the booze that you
left when you're in
promised.
uni, you have no money to buy something else.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that business also failed.
Oh my gosh.
That's two down the drain. And there was a bunch of those we tried.
Mm.
But one that stuck was from all this time on the film sets, we had seen how you say cut, you say action.
Mhm.
So we figured we can probably teach this to primary school kids.
Mm.
So we did a proposal on Wikipedia. I used to go
Okay.
to Tao. You remember those cyber cafes,
Cyber cafes.
that used to charge 50 cents a minute?
Yes.
But they were in downtown and there were rows of computers.
Yes.
Mingi.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that can buy you, because if you have like 100 bob, it means you can be there for how many? 200 minutes or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
So then it allows you to do things. So I was
Yeah.
over there, Wikipedia, I drew up a
like
proposal
videos,
of 2 pages.
Mhm.
And we went around knocking on doors. We
Oh,
went
really?
to McKinney School, we went to St.
Okay.
Austine's, we went to a bunch of these schools, Rusinga. Most of them didn't let us in. Because I
Okay.
was much younger then. I used to wear slippers and jeans. My friend
Okay.
Dexter and I, we'd like looking at us then, I
Yeah.
can see how they didn't let us in.
Yeah. Even you
I don't
would
know,
be
it's
like, yeah,
like,
you
what
would
is
let
this?
them in. Yeah,
So
okay.
we took these proposals around. And then luckily McKinney School gave us a chance.
Oh wow. Okay.
Interesting.
Interesting.
And we used to act like we have an office. So they call, can I speak to Mr. Mbugu? Alafu nakimbia huko nje.
Yeah.
Mr. Mbugu speaking.
Oh my gosh.
And then, but we signed up some students. So how it used to work was, though you have drama club and music club, this was film club.
Okay.
And kids paid 3,000 shillings per term.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing we did was we got 30 students. You should
Wow.
have seen us. It blew our minds.
Wow.
But that's 90K.
Wow.
But once you divide into 3 months, it's 30K. There was
Yeah.
2 of us. So
Yeah, it was a good deal then.
it wasn't much, but tulikula chipo wewe na kuku hiyo siku.
Yeah.
It's celebration. You should have
Oh,
seen us in
gosh.
town.
Yeah.
And so, but this whole time as I was doing, so we ran that for a while. We did
Oh,
that
okay.
for almost 3
Okay.
years.
Oh, 3 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
All
the
the way to
classes
my
got bigger and
graduation.
bigger.
Yeah, we went on. We got that. We got McKinney School. No,
Mhm.
we got McKinney School first. We got St. Austine's as well, and one other school that I can't remember now.
Okay.
And that was a business that held us.
Okay.
It
Oh,
was
that's
consistent.
Mhm.
It gave us some. We got other work while we were still
Okay.
doing that, because we started to cover the school's events.
Mm.
We did the McKinney School documentary, their first documentary ever, and I remember Dr. Miriokello. We went and pitched our documentary, and it was 300,000 shillings.
Wow.
And she looked at me. She looked at my partner Dexter,
Yeah.
and she asked me who my mother was,
Yeah.
because I was in our office in torn jeans and slippers.
Yes.
Okay.
Then and she had no reason to do this whatsoever. Then she approved it. Even the accountant
Oh
was
my
like,
gosh.
when you took the approval,
Couldn't believe
Yeah.
it.
she was like, no, this is not. She had to walk over
Oh my
to Dr.
gosh. And
Merikelo's office to
confirm.
confirm because it required that they pay us a down
Oh.
payment of 150,000 shillings.
Wow.
Alafu wakatulipa.
Damn.
Check sisi yao na check tuna account.
Oh my gosh. Even a bank account
We
not
don't have a
yet.
bank account.
Gosh.
So because you had written an invoice with a
Yeah.
fictitious company.
Mm.
So now it's running to open the company so you can bank the check.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Oh my gosh. You know, sometimes
you got
all
the
your
company
wishes
name.
come true and you are not ready.
Yeah, we got the company. Yeah,
Oh
then
my
we
gosh.
deposited 150K and we made the documentary.
Mhm.
So that opportunity, that McKinney School opportunity opened a lot of doors for us.
Mhm.
But when I was also still doing that, you remember I told you when I was in high school with
Yeah.
Shirima, we started to sell DVDs.
Yeah.
So I also set up a shop outside of SIU selling bootleg films. You remember those 50
Okay.
bob movies?
Yes.
And then we had video game arcade there doing. I actually went to see it. It still stands.
Oh,
It was a
okay.
kiosk. Like
Okay.
it was even worse than a kiosk. It's like a chum too in a under a drainage in a building.
Yeah.
And then we
Yeah.
built like a thing there and we were
Yeah.
playing
Those
video games.
consoles and yeah.
Yeah. But this whole time, remember, I wanted to be like that guy on the motorbike, the executive producer. So while I was doing all these old businesses, I was writing TV show ideas
I see.
and pitching them all across town. Then eventually in 2013, as fate would have it, something that had absolutely nothing to do with me. If you remember, there was a huge K24 was involved in some political takeover
Yeah.
in 2013.
Yeah.
And they poached almost all the journalists, if you
Yes.
remember that.
Yes, I remember.
Plus a lot of media executives.
Yeah.
So they were all poached there and they had a very short time to put content together because the election was coming up and it was a political move. So because I had pitched to so many of these people, there's everybody needs a kid with that show.
Yeah.
So they called
You had
me like,
many ideas.
what is that show you keep talking about, Young Rich?
Yes.
And the reason I done Young Rich is because when I was teaching at McKinney School, that same walking route,
Yeah.
I used to walk it because I didn't have enough transport. So living in USIU, or sometimes you have the money, but there's better use. You know, you have to make your money last.
Yes.
And it never seemed like suffering then.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
true.
what you
It's
needed
true.
to do.
Yeah.
So I used to walk from town to McKinney School. So then I started to walk through Lavington and Kilimani and you start to see apartments. You know, they don't do that these days, but they used to put the rent amount at the gate.
Yes.
50,000, 60,000. It's like, wow, people are paying rent of 50,000. Alafu you know when you're walking, you're getting unafungulia unachungulia.
Yeah. You'd actually hope you bust so that you see the cars and you see how it looks inside.
And then I had never lived on this side. All my life, I came from nilitoka Ocha kwanza. I lived in Kitale, Njoro, Thika. Then when I moved to Nairobi, I lived in Zimmerman, Donholm, Kasarani. So all these
Even
areas
the
were
setup of the neighborhood is just
Yeah.
like you've
walk
never
path.
seen this.
Yeah.
Walk path. I used to enjoy that walk like nobody's business. It was like
It's like you're
Oh,
watching
there's
like
a part.
Central
Yeah,
Park in
there's-
New York.
yeah,
It
it's
was
true.
like,
It's true.
I was having the
It's
time
true.
of my life
Yes.
watching luxury. You know?
Yes.
And then you see the cars that drive in there. And that's where the idea for Young Rich came from. It's like, who are these people and how are they making their money?
Yeah.
So anyways, so then 2013 happens and K24 has this need and I'm called in. And I'd been pitching this show for almost 3 years and nobody cared. And then all of a sudden now, as you know,
Wow.
what's serendipity they say? Right place, right time. If you've been pushing at something, then opportunity works in your favor.
Yeah.
And then that opened up and I
Wow.
got my first TV show in 2013 called Young Rich.
Young Rich.
And Young Rich was interesting because it premiered on a Saturday and I graduated on a Friday. At my graduation, I was telling my friends,
Yes.
you know me, I'm a millionaire.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hata
because
kuna madimapo nilikuwa nakatia. Nikwambia, you know me, I'm a millionaire, Helen wewe.
My gosh.
Sasa ati millionaire wapi?
What do you mean,
thought it's
man?
a
Yeah.
story.
Alafu, they found out.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
This
So,
is
yeah.
the day after your graduation.
So I sold Young Rich about a month before my graduation.
Okay.
And the way those shows work, you know, it's at the time, TV is not the same anymore. But at the time, like it was 250K or thereabouts an episode plus VAT. There's 4 episodes in a month. You're making $1 million shillings a month.
Wow, that's true.
And it's mind-blowing money
Yeah.
having come from, fighting for 30K a month.
Yes.
And you know, everybody, I think every entrepreneur will tell you, like the first million
Yes.
is extremely difficult.
Yes, that's true.
Because like unganisha ma 30K ma 40K
Yes,
ni
yes,
ngumu
yes,
na
it's
na
so hard.
matumizi.
And you have needs.
Yeah, and once you unlock $1 million, like it's extremely life-changing.
Yeah.
Especially if it's consistent.
It's the one you'd remember the most, the first million, yeah.
Well, now 100 also. 100 is
No,
also
100,
another-
okay.
100
Okay.
is also new.
Okay.
But yeah, the first
Okay.
million is life-changing, especially
Yeah.
if it's consistent, because ours was a contract and it went on for almost 2 years.
Wow.
So it was $1 million a month for almost 2
Wow.
years.
Wow.
And it's 2013.
How you became Young Rich.
Not at the beginning. Maybe within a year. Because
Yeah.
at the beginning, you're madeni too.
Yes,
Before
yes,
you're
yeah,
paid.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you've earned the contract.
You're already like
but you
under,
have to
so it's like,
invoice
yeah.
after you've delivered the first
Yeah.
month's work. Then invoicing takes, you're paid in 60 days. So you're probably getting the first payment in 90 days. By
Yes.
then, madini wewe bro, but it's
So you had to raise some money to shoot and produce basically.
I learned that it's called Friends, Family, and Fools.
Yes.
Yeah.
Foolish enough to believe in you earlier.
Yeah, but mine were actually friends. It wasn't fools. So two of my very good friends
Okay.
invested in this. So one of them is called Kennedy, who's a business partner of mine to this day. We do almost all business together.
Okay.
Kennedy Murimi. He gave me 150K.
Wow.
And then there was another friend of mine, Muchi, who also invested 150K.
Okay.
Muchi got the money from his parents.
Wow.
Guys, who are your friends?
You know that thing that they say, everybody needs rich parents who said they have to be yours.
Yeah, it's true. It's okay.
So when I used to go pitch people, they go pitch their parents.
Yes.
And then sometimes I'm required to go pitch their parents myself. And then I think those parents were just helping you because they can just see the spirit, they can see your drive. Just giving you an encouraging hand. So I got 150. So that set of things. And then I borrowed equipment from, I remember my friend Steve Murungi had a camera. I borrowed that. A friend of mine had called Charles Muga, had a camera as well. So now I have 2 cameras. I used to use my friend Austin's laptop to go pitch because I also did it on the laptop. So crazy things like that. Unganisha. Until things work out in the future.
And there's something also that is stuck out. Like, you know how they say it's 3 years in the making and then overnight success. So it seems like also this period with the McKinneys and the schools, like maybe that's when you did like your 10,000 hours or something.
But by the time I got my first TV show, I had been in the industry 5 years.
Yes.
Because remember I joined when I was 17. So I had 18, 19, because I was the youngest TV producer with a show on national TV in Kenya. Because I was 22 then. But I've been in the industry 5 years.
So you didn't cheat the time. You did the time.
And it didn't seem like it then because you're hustling too. You're boom swinging huko, you're being an extra here, you're writing some happy, you're pitching huko. Someone calls you, they have a what. I remember like my friend Makomboi, when I was even like as late as 6 months before I sold my show, I remember just shooting a movie in his house and having to sleep on the floor for like 4 days.
Really?
Because I was the one doing sound.
Wow.
I was doing some writing up on a palace. So I'd been actually in the industry for 5 years before I got my first TV show.
And like, what would you say that period did for you? Like your confidence, your skill, all these things. Like what happened in that period?
If I'm being very honest, I was pivoting away. I'd almost given up on that idea of having a TV show. Okay. So I started to write for The Nation.
Okay.
Because my friend Carlos Moredi, I think, who actually just got a job at The Guardian this week, if I'm not mistaken. So I've always been a writer. I was trying out a bunch of things. I always used to write a lot.
Okay.
And I started to write for The Nation. And I think they used to pay me like maybe 9K an article. And then sometimes I'll do a big one. I'd be on the cover of Saturday magazine.
Okay.
And they'd pay me 18K.
Yeah.
So that started to become a bit comfortable because in a month I was getting a check of like almost 50K. And then I had my movie shop thing on the side there that was earning me another 50K or so. I had moved into like a nice house in Safari Park View.
Oh, damn. Okay.
So I was going to become a writer. I had given up on that whole TV thing.
Okay.
And I actually went and was offered a contract.
Okay.
I remember the launch in Nairobi News then. And my salary was going to be 60K a month. And I was willing to take it.
Okay.
I went back to negotiate Kakata. And then that guy, out of anger, the editor then actually withdrew the contract. The fact that I was even
trying to negotiate. Okay.
Akaniambia ndo kuna watu wengi wanataka hii kazi.
Okay. Damn.
And that's how I didn't take that job. I think I was supposed to go back and beg.
Okay.
But kwa hiyo harakati tu hiyo mwezi, I got the call for the other show on that other side. So I don't know, serendipity too. So I'll probably have been a writer.
Okay.
But yeah, so I won't sit here. So I think things always make sense when you look back.
Yeah, when you look back.
But at the time, I can't romanticize this and tell you that I had a grand plan.
Yeah.
It's just like I did a bunch of things and then one paid off. And it was and sometimes I sit now and even because sometimes you get frustrated, you're sending all these proposals, nothing. I always remember that there was a bunch of stuff I had done.
Yeah.
And sometimes one you think that didn't work at all somehow comes through.
Yeah.
So the lessons are, I guess, you have to pay your dues. You've got to do your groundwork. You've got to run the race. And then, sometimes like your luck and serendipity pays out. So I think there's a large degree of luck, to be honest.
That's true.
Because there's a lot of people who put in
you were prepared.
hard work.
And you had put in a lot of hours trying to figure this.
I had put in a lot of hours.
Interesting. So post Young Rich, what would you say has been your most successful production and why?
So the most successful production, by no question whatsoever, is Real Houses of Nairobi. Um, there's a large difference between all the local productions we've done. So because so we have a mixture of formats. So there's a lot of shows that I've created, which is why you see the tag created by Eugene Bua. So those are formats that I've formulated myself.
Okay.
And then you have Young Rich, Get in the Kitchen, Foods of Kenya, a lot of the celebrity reality shows. But and international formats like Real Housewives, it's created by NBC Universal. It's been tested in like 50 markets, if I'm not wrong. Multiple cities in the States, dozens of cities in Europe. In Africa alone, before they got to us, they had done Joburg, they had done Cape Town, they had done Lagos, they had done. We launched about the same time as Abuja. They had done Winelands. There's another city in South Africa called Kakabela or something. It's one of those Afrikaans city. GQ for short. So this is something that's been tried and tested. And so by the time we get that contract here, it required a lot of humility.
Okay.
So our teams had to be trained. We took trips to Cape Town.
Okay.
I went to see the owner of the format in the south of France, just trying to understand how it works. Then we had to take some training. Some South Africans flew in to train our teams. And it's almost like you're learning everything afresh.
Yes.
Then, of course, international formats also come with some standards. So the budget is also quite high.
Okay.
And then it's very pedantic in how things must work. They must sit this way. The candle must be there. The camera must be facing this angle. The questions are asked this way. It's not scripted in any way. But the technical specifications of how things work are very detailed. There's like a book thick like this. And if you follow that book, the
Creates
results
magic.
is that must. And you know, there's all arguments about the place of reality television in our human lives, but there's no question about it. It's a guilty pleasure for a lot of people.
It's a guilty pleasure. That's true.
And you know, the women love it, but the guys also out there like, I miss Odangis of it too. But you're watching it with your
Yeah,
girlfriends.
watching it and like you were, I saw this like video, like you're like, are you watching your show? Let me go to the bedroom. But then 30 minutes later, you're still there, just like.
But then anybody
exactly. It's crazy.
And they work. They really work. Those formats are very good at audience retention. They're good at maintaining drama all through the season. They're good at maintaining drama all through the episode because it's structured in a certain way.
Okay.
So it's by far, so far, the most successful show we've done. It broke all streaming records when it premiered.
Wow.
I think I forget the exact title, but it's something like the most premiered, the most streamed premiere of any local or international production ever in Kenya for Showmax.
Wow.
I imagine it might also be the same for all streaming platforms because none of the other platforms have released any property as big as what we've done.
Wow.
So that it's big. And then it was number 2 in South Africa. It was number 4 in Nigeria. It was number 3 in Accra. It's now.
So guys, they are watching like Nairobi
Kenya
drama.
Yeah. It's big. Like every time it premieres, it's like Real Houses is continental.
Yeah.
And now it's going to Australia. It's going to America.
Wow.
It's a big. It's a big one. We're just about to premiere season 2 in how long? In a few weeks.
Okay.
And hopefully we will have more seasons going forward.
So, and out of the whole journey to date, what has been your most challenging moment? So this is leave the hard days, post Young Rich is now live.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which days did you feel like, I don't know what I'm doing?
Hey, the pandemic was tough. The pandemic was tough. When it first hit, you know, there's a confusion of everything and then just seeing the world locked down. And I had just started to travel the world at that point, you know. I had some conversations I was having in LA. You know, I felt like my wings couldn't be
You're on a trajectory.
clamped here. And just prior to that, I had 2 nightclubs. The TV shows were plenty. They were coming in. It was, I felt like I was riding high and then poof, this thing happens.
Wow.
Then you're at home, you're trying to figure things out and then you start to lose all contracts.
Wow.
We've been at home now for a month. Now I have to make some tough decisions. Close the office. Well, we tried to pivot quickly, so we decided to film because Sauti Sol was going through the same thing, and we had just sent to do a reality show pamoja. So their teams and ours were trying to do. We went and negotiated the deal with the Ministry of Education to do a show in isolation and also give them some marketing material for anti-COVID. Okay, so that kept us a bit busy. Then we tried to do something with Kenya Film Commission, and we did a show called Concert Nyumbani, which was the most streamed. The biggest TV event in Kenya's history because
I think
it aired on 15 stations simultaneously.
I remember that.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
And then after that, nothing.
Oh my gosh.
So then the country reopened. And I had spent a bit of my time in 2020 reconnecting with mentors. So one of them is Dr. Sam Danya, the founder of Nairobi Women's Hospital. And prior to that, we had been talking about like putting structures into a business. And so during that period, we had a bit of time. And I remember he invited me to his holiday home, and we talked about like potential of doing this. So he then agrees to invest in my business and grow it.
Yeah.
And then the country opens up and we go gang ho.
Oh,
We start setting up an office because I've got an investment now. We've done a bunch of shows in this. So like the world will only get bigger. Tukaenda. And we started nicely. So in that first year, I had reserves. So it wasn't as hard. It was scary, but not as hard. But now by the time I get to this second, reserves are gone. But I've got this injection to basically expand. We're going to use that money on studios. We're going to use that money on new content. We're going to invest in music. And then I remember just one weird day, the country was locked down again.
Oh gosh, this is
and
21.
all the contracts, now this is 2021. And all the contracts that decided to come, I love this time people didn't even wait a month. They were cancelled the next day.
Oh
or the other week. It could be clients were quick.
Yes.
Because I think everybody had learned that you catch your losses quickly if that happens. So now here I am. I'm building this magnificent big office by our standards then. The office I have now, you've been there. We've just sunk money due to do what? I've hired a bunch of people.
Wow.
And then now I can't fire them. We're going on with the plan anyway. And the most painful thing about that period is we ended up spending this money that was supposed to blow the company up on maintenance.
And
it was one of the most discouraging 8 months to a year of my life because everything we were pitching was falling through. I've also taken people's money here now. So, before I was going to look at
Yes.
I've taken this many guys and I'm wondering, have I sold them a dead horse? Something I was so sure about a year ago, 2 years ago, that this was a business. I'm not sure it's a business anymore.
Wow.
Clients are not buying any of that stuff. The country just went back to that lockdown. Everything we were pitching, like nobody was buying anything. And it was just a very extremely depressing time because I'd also hired. So it almost is like, how stupid are you to be so hopeful so quickly?
Yeah.
So that was an extremely, extremely difficult time. But then interestingly, because we had then, I had taken this investment, I had put together a board of directors, and that also ended up being what saw us through.
Okay.
Because to sit down with these mentors who are telling you, no, it's happening to everybody, not just you.
Yes, okay.
To sit down with them and tell like, I know we're in debt, but it's okay. They give you a longer perspective. Like when you're younger and you haven't seen anything beyond this, like this was the worst year of my life ever.
I know.
Because I had been only on a trajectory, I had never lost. So like a whole year I've sold nothing. You start to wonder, is it that first of all, is our product not valuable anymore?
Is it me?
Yeah. Is it like, is this industry dead after the pandemic? There's all these questions you're asking yourself. And so your board is going there and telling you about like longer projections and 5-year plans. That everybody has this like, recovery will be in 3 years. Like 3 years?
What do you mean?
So that was a really, really tough time. And it made me appreciate, first of all, having the board and long-term thinking. And I think there's something I read. I think this might have been in what's the big investors? The name of the big investor guy. He has this beautiful book, BlackRock.
BlackRock Capital.
It's called Michael, the founder of BlackRock. Larry Fink.
No, I forget the name now. It was a very big book around that time. And one of the things he written in that book is you really need to study history because anything that has happened to you now.
Oh, is it Bill Ackman?
Trend-wise.
Ackman?
No.
Oh.
Because trends-wise, if you study history, chances are whatever is happening to you has happened to people in the past, and there's lessons there. And so like if you study when they had the major outbreaks in the early 1900s, which was then followed by the glamorous 30s, it was the same cycles. And that a pandemic can't come. A pandemic can't come and it'll shut down the world for 3 years, and then people survive it and the world doesn't end. And if you plan for that, not so foreseeable, but come in future. It's so.
I think Charlie Munga also says something around history that doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. So it's
exactly.
So to learn that this wasn't new, like to be honest with you, at some point I couldn't see the way out. I was like, and then interestingly, there were some friends of mine who are doing really well.
Okay.
During the pandemic,
COVID
millionaires.
Those guys too were just flourishing. Me, because there was a period there I wasn't even breaking
Flourishing,
flourishing. I wasn't even breaking those rules. And I have a journalism card. I wasn't even going outside past 10 because it's just like I think I also ran away from the world. I just cuddled up and so that was the most difficult period I've gone through. Of course, now there's also losses and stuff.
I'm sure there's a lesson you can tell from that. What's the biggest lesson?
I mean, I hope there's just no other pandemic in my lifetime. I don't want to do that stuff.
If you're honest.
You just hope.
Yeah.
Yes, honest.
Yeah. But jokes aside, it's just it's to understand that things end.
Yeah.
And also to understand the longer cycle of things. Because I guess prior to that, my plan had always been in 3 months, 6 months.
Okay.
So I couldn't foresee how you can do a year without. And then we also didn't cut jobs, which was a very big fight I had with my board. Because I remember at some point I sat with one of my board members, Stephen Gugu, and he was telling me, Eugene, your runway is becoming shorter and shorter. If this company is going to survive, you have to go to those firings today. No question. Alafu mimi sasa niko tu kuna contracts nimepitch na tu hours wako about kusema yes.
Yes.
But the board is saying no. Yes, it's
balancing
yes in waiting is not a yes. It's itakuja. Alafu mimi like wait, uko sure? Because you're keeping a whole crew, a whole staff here. Maybe I'm saying I need these guys for when these guys say yes, because we've been preparing for it. And then of course, also there's also the interesting thing of sometimes where you save those jobs, you keep these people, and then as soon as the job comes, they go for greener pastures immediately.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
So and they don't care about you. They just go.
Yeah. So it was that was a very 2021 was
Tough.
Was a tough year.
So we'll move to an exciting, harder question.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Mark has one.
Yeah, it's true. I think just looking at like what D&R has been able to do so far, and just considering the age of the company, it's very developed in age, but also you're really, really young. And I was just getting a sense of like, in a few years, Eugene will have conquered this market for entertainment. So like, what's in the horizon for D&R?
Well, it's a really exciting time for us because we then, after we went through that terrible year, we then started to reap the benefits of the systems we had built. And you know, that's the beauty of, that's the other thing about systems is it seems like thankless work until it thanks you. You know, so there's that pain in Nini of just rigorous admin work that we are filing all taxes. Because you know, we went through the process of cleaning up entirely. As a company about 3 years ago. So, you know, taxes are clean.
Everything above board.
Everything above board. Administrative things are being done properly because that's what a board does with you. You clean up. And always use the analogy of it's like a child. You know, when you're younger, you can walk around with mucus in your nose.
It's true. It's true.
As you get to 10, people are less forgiving when you clean up.
It's true. You sit properly now.
You need to act how to deal now. And as an adult, you're not expected to do something like that.
That's true.
So we've sort of wiped the snoot off our faces. We are washing better. It's and we started to sort of reap off the benefits of that. And I think when a project like Real Houses came along, we were better prepared for it. We had better systems. And I think like our clients are starting to appreciate us for that.
Okay.
It's also that stability that has allowed us to sort of start exploring different business models.
Okay.
Because the danger of a small economy like ours is you run through existing models very quickly.
Okay.
So like now, you know, in our industry is television is, I don't want to say dying, but it's not necessarily a growing field. We are losing eyeballs daily to mobile phones, to streaming. So, you know, where else when we started, we had like 5-6 broadcast clients. Now they've shrunk to 2.
Wow.
So with all these things, we find our place as a company having to almost create new frontiers if we are going to survive. And so that's why we're getting to things like merchandising. So we are saying, okay, so we have these celebrities, we have this content we know you guys are watching.
Yeah.
We know that you follow the celebrities. What else can we sell you as part of that? So that's hence Unapologetic by Betty.
Okay.
We're also saying, okay, so we know eyeballs are moving from TV to your mobile
TikTok
phones.
and Instagram.
How can we make short form content to achieve that? And we have. And so I'm just about to have a strategy approved by my board, which works. We go very heavy on digital content production.
Okay.
We're going to invest quite a bit in the merchandising arms of it, and which is basically creating new business models to allow us to do what we want to do.
I see.
And then spread into the neighboring countries. Oh, so that's same 2021, by the way. Check in Nanyuko, Tanzania. Because I had money to expand.
They all
so
was
I
your
was
oyster.
there in Tanzania meeting with Diamond and a bunch of these guys signing deals to do shows.
Wow.
That same year. So yeah,
Interesting.
Oh gosh.
So trying to rekindle that East Africa growth dream.
Okay.
So expanding to other markets.
Mhm.
But we want to be the first billion annual revenue billion in a billion shillings and more.
Wow.
We've grown organically so far,
Mhm.
which, as anybody will tell you, is quite a pain.
Mhm.
But we are now also exploring bringing on board other partners to sort of accelerate
Okay.
the growth that we now envision.
Mm.
But yeah, that's the idea, to grow this into a media
Okay.
company, generally from just a production company. So we're going to stick to those things for now, which is production,
Okay.
merchandising,
Mhm.
digital,
Mhm.
and also we have experiences. Experiences for us means there's a quote I read once by Bob Iger, who's the CEO of Disney.
Yeah.
And he says, if you're in show business, you have to create an aura of glamour and sophistication that everybody wants to be associated with, including advertisers.
Mm.
So Kenya just generally doesn't have much showbiz. So if you'll see, we are trying to change that. So,
Okay.
we have those that you can attend to.
I
So how do we
see.
bring our audience along with the experience of this art that we are making?
Mm.
So we've got like paid shows coming up. We
Okay.
did those stand-up comedy shows with Stand Up Collective.
Mm.
The roast.
We had the roast at number 7, and then we did another one called Comedy Riot,
Okay.
which was slightly bigger auditorium. So now we are just about to do an even bigger one.
Okay.
We're going to be roasting celebrities and stuff. It's going to be 13 shows towards the end of the coming year.
Mm.
I want to make them glamorous and nice. Something you can dress up to.
Yeah.
Audiences of 500 to 1,000. Make great content from it, and
That's
keep growing that.
super exciting.
That
Yeah,
front.
I know.
That's
I
gonna be
know.
fun.
I
You'll
can't
be in the
wait
audience. I'll call you.
Yeah, we can't wait to
Oh
can't
my
wait to
gosh.
see.
I think
yeah.
we should start filming in about a month and a half.
Okay.
So adverts will probably start rolling out in a month.
Yeah, we
So
look
that's what we call those experiences. These are so not just the content you watch on screens, but
Okay.
things that we can actually bring you along to experience.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
a red carpet, meet the
Yeah.
celebrities.
Yeah.
It's a thing that's lacking into in,
Yeah.
in,
It's
in,
actually
in
not
show,
really
yeah.
well
And
developed.
people
Yeah.
want to come along. Like the other day we had Kalasha Awards, which is like our equivalent of the Oscars.
Mhm.
And we threw Kenya's first ever Kalasha Awards after party.
Oh, okay.
And we had brands come on board to join us.
Yeah, okay.
Nice.
Some reputable brands
Mm.
came and sponsored this, and their executives wanted to be seen at these parties
Yeah,
to
damn.
mingle with the stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah, to
had
be in
a
showbiz,
good
being
time.
seen is part of the
Yeah. The show business element of showbiz
Yeah.
is the business.
Yes,
It's
yeah.
like
yes.
people want to be associated. People want to attend parties. People want to come to premieres.
Yeah.
People want to dress up and come out
That's
with their
true.
significant
Yeah.
others. Experiences are a thing
Yeah.
that people want, and
That's
that can
true.
be monetized in our business.
Fantastic. Yeah. That's
That's
really
amazing. And I'm just listening to you now,
Excuse
and I remember when it was like 2013 or something, you the Harley Davidson story with the executive producer.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you've achieved that now? If yes, is there like a new horizon for you personally?
I didn't buy the Harley Davidson,
Okay.
but I've bought equivalents.
Okay.
I'm too much of a coward for a motorbike.
Okay.
But no, I don't feel like I've achieved. So the thing is, I keep mentors around very, very much. And I remember when I met Dr. Denya, who was the chairman of my board now, I thought I was the richest man in the world. Like, this but I had barely scratched the surface. And
Okay.
it's and that usually you get that syndrome if you're in smaller rooms than yourself.
Okay. Okay.
So if you're standing on people smaller than you
Yeah.
and calling yourself the man.
You're the biggest.
Yeah. I think now I've intentionally surrounded myself with people who are doing such big things
Okay.
that I don't think there's a single day I feel like
Okay.
I've reached my potential.
Okay.
I go sit with, and I have a lot of close, including you, friends I sit with, and I just hear what they've unlocked or what they've built in the last 2 or 3 years, and I go home like, wait,
Damn.
I have to wake up earlier tomorrow.
Put in those hours.
And so I think I've done a very good job of doing that. So, and I don't think now for me it's so much about like I don't think I'll actually ever be self-actualized.
Okay.
I think I care more about the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You enjoy the journey.
Yes, I enjoy the journey. I enjoy the process. I enjoy the building, and I want to see how far I can push my luck. You see, there's a lot of joy that comes from creating something in your mind.
Yes.
And then doing the work.
Yeah.
And then seeing it come alive.
Yes.
It's like, I can do that. It's like a superpower.
Yes.
It's like, what else can I do?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you try another thing.
Yeah.
And it's painful and
it's
you
a
struggle.
negative.
And then,
Yeah. It's true.
so now I want to see.
You want to
It's true.
repeat.
Yeah.
I know. And that's actually a really good concept. I think I was reading on Warren Buffett and he was saying that's kind of how he sees wealth creation. It's for him, it's a game of just beating the stock market. You can imagine like as a kid, you just keep on stashing coins And like after a week, you see there are more. So his lifelong dream is just to, when he's like 99 or something, just sees all the coins he has and just gives them away. It's like just a game.
It's just a game.
Yeah, it's a game.
Yeah.
Because you see, there's another, I think it's called the hedonistic treadmill. It's a theory that basically states after achieving some certain level of comfort,
You want more.
no, not necessarily. It's a treadmill. They call it hedonistic treadmill, if I'm not mistaken.
That's true.
After you achieve a certain level of comfort, which is you've got a nice car, you can buy the food you want, you can probably get on a plane and travel somewhere.
Yeah.
You are living in a comfortable house. There's not much highs or lows after that.
Yeah.
So you'll have moments of, and then you go back to that same level. Or you'll have some moments of lowness, and then you go back to that same level. So like there's no greater joy that a new car will give you.
Yes.
So like now when you buy a new car, I mean, you're happy for like a week, then it's just a car.
That's true.
When you're, so the hedonistic treadmill. So after you achieve a certain level of basic life comfort, it's not basic.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a bit more superior.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people who've achieved some level of success have that already.
Yeah.
So you can keep chasing that temporary high and temporary lows, but once you understand, you'll mostly just come back to this. That's why I think once you achieve that is when you start to think more long term.
Yes.
You start to make 10-year plans, 20-year plans. You start to think about building businesses that will last generations because it's no longer about that temporary.
True. Rise and fall.
Yeah.
Like,
So it's a very hedonistic treadmill. Like, so it basically says you're not going to get any happier than you are now.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Cool. Yeah.
Damn.
So I think, this has been really exciting. Just one more question before we go, which is, if you lost everything you have today, all your wealth, how long do you think it would take to get it all back, to get back to where you're at?
To be honest with you, now with the benefit of hindsight, there's a lot of magic in absolute destruction because it allows you to start afresh without the mistakes of youth. Like, if you look at countries that have gone through genocide or some crazy stuff like that and have rebuilt well, they rebuild really well. So I feel like if I lost everything today, first of all, I'm mjima shida zangu. So I'd probably be also losing a lot of inefficiencies and a lot of things that I set up wrong to start.
Okay.
I actually feel like I might be able to make it much faster in an industry of choice, because you see also now, I imagine that I will not pick the industry I'm in based on passion or the opportunity I had. I'll pick it based on statistics, because now, you read more and you understand where the future is going. So you know what, right now, which industries are likely to, AI and all these things, where you're likely to have more takeoff. I've got more visibility of the world. I've got networks globally. So if I was to lose everything, I think I'd probably build it. I'll probably build something bigger in less than 5 years.
Wow.
Nice.
That's a really good answer.
Yeah.
That's a really good answer.
But that's also a very big if, because there's also something really interesting that also happens when you lose everything. If how long you take to bounce back really matters, because if you're down too long, the world moves on without you.
Yeah, that's true.
So I've also seen people who lose a job and move back to watch. It's a big mistake, because moving away from the action at TSG for a year, coming back is almost impossible.
It's true.
So I guess the trick is to bounce back immediately. No, not bounce back, but like. I think that would be. I read someone who responded to one of your articles today, and they said sometimes progress isn't just movement forward. Sometimes progress is bouncing back.
That's a good one.
That's
powerful.
That's a good one.
And I really thought about that
a
lot.
one.
And you see, the thing is about businesses. A lot of us don't lose publicly. Because see, like now me, because I've not raised money, when my business is available, it's required to declare. So there's a lot of vitu zangu zimekunya tu maji kweli. Na get to depression yangu ya miezi tatu.
Only you know.
No, like I've lost some businesses. Like there's a club we invested in up in Westlands. I've told this story before, and we lost double-digit millions in a period of 6 months, and it was all stupidity on my part.
Wow.
And it was almost all the money I had then. And then, the pandemic followed soon after. So by the time the pandemic was coming, I had also lost most of my personal to gatherings.
Wow.
And, sometimes there's one of my favorite films. It's called Catch Me If You Can.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and there's an opening scene there where this kid and his dad, they go to a bank, and the dad is down real bad, and they're trying to get a loan. Nothing is working out. And the son is crying, and the dad sort of motivates him and says, there's nothing, you've got to understand that sometimes you'll be up and sometimes you'll be down. And when you're up, it's never as good as it seems. And when you're down, it feels like you'll never be up again.
Yeah, it's never as...
But life goes on.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because it's constant.
Yeah.
And I guess just dust yourself up, get back
Mm.
to it. Don't do Cindy, which is
Yes. Yeah. Just it's never as good or as bad as
yeah,
it
it's
seems.
never as good as it seems, and it's never as bad as it's because life goes
Yeah.
on too. It's remember that equilibrium.
Yes. That's
And I
true.
guess the world belongs to those who can dust themselves up and bounce back. Yeah.
Damn.
I don't have anything to add.
I
The
know.
world belongs to those guys.
Yeah, I know.
Just bounce back.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey man, this was super. I think like even me just sitting here like learned so much today. So thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, we look forward to just seeing where this journey takes you.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see. I'm curious too.
Yeah.
And see, I'm a mogul in the making.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's been exciting.
If it works out.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
Yeah, champions, thanks a lot for tuning in.
That's
Subscribe, follow, check out Eugene's amazing work, and we'll catch you next time.